And we are live. Welcome, mystery and thriller fans. I'm your on-air host, Sara DiVello, and I am so excited to welcome the multiple award-winning author, Tracy Clark, today on her pub day, one day after, to tell us all about her brand new book, Runner. Tracy, welcome to Mystery and Thriller Mavens. Tell us about this book.
Hi, Sarah. Thanks for having me, first of all. Runner is out there, out in the world. It's about Cass Rains' new case. She is looking for a missing runaway foster kid in the middle of a Chicago winter, which is fascinating for me to sort of write. And I'm glad readers so far are loving the fact that the winter plays a big part in this. But she is sort of pounding the streets in the middle of winter, trying to find this missing kid. And she quickly learns, as she's doing that someone else is also looking. So now it becomes a race as to who is going to find Ramona Titus first. Hopefully it will be the good guys, Cass, and we just will have to wait and see how that sort of turns out.
Yay! Well, I am one of those readers who is loving your descriptions of a Chicago winter because we're having a heat wave here where I am, and it is toasty, it is humid, I am sweltering, and so your very effective descriptions of that ice cold, bone deep Chicago winter is helping me keep cool in these dog days of summer. So that is great.
Good.
I want to get into every single detail of this book, the writing, the characters, so much, your amazing reviews. But first, I just want to welcome everyone who's watching with us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Mystery and Thriller Mavens, on Murder by the Book. Welcome, friends. If you've been here before, you know how this works. And if you're new, welcome. We're so thrilled to have you. Here's how it works. Every week, I present you featured, hand-picked authors who are here to tell you all about their writing, all about their book. And guess what? You get to ask them anything. So ask Tracy about this cover. Ask her about Cass. Ask her about her knowledge of police. Ask her what her writing day's like. I know I'm wondering all these things. Ask her anything else you're wondering about. Don't be shy. Just get the questions going in the comments, and I will get them right over to Cass. Now, I know it always takes right over to Tracy, who's the creator of Cass Rains. So I know it always takes me a minute to think of questions. So I'll kick off with Tracy. Why this book? Why now?
I sort of started thinking about this book when I was sort of halfway through the previous one, which is sort of how it works for me. As I sort of get to the end of the one I'm working on, I sort of panic. I think most writers of series sort of do, and you sort of start fishing for that next idea. And I think the kernel of an idea for this one, Runner, sort of happened just sort of thinking about runaways and their plight and how they're out there and why they're out there and what social services are out there to sort of catch them before they sort of fall through the cracks and sort of disappear into oblivion. So it started with that germ of an idea. And then as I got closer to finishing the previous book, I just sort of looked around and sort of looked at the numbers, looked at the issues that DCFS sort of faces, foster care homes and how they sort of come together and how kids sort of latch onto those things, and a story sort of developed. I started with just one runaway, brought it down to the character level. This is Cass's case, and as I sort of went through the plot line, just sort of commented a little bit about these children, throwaways and runaways, and how they sort of survive on the streets, and what services could be there or should be there to help them as they're out there. So a little bit of that is there in the book. Most of it is character level movement forward. But, I sort of say a little truth in the context of sort of entertaining readers. So I think it turned out well. I have great hopes for it. And we'll see if readers agree with me.
Well, I think readers are going to agree with you, and I know the New York Times agrees with you. Congratulations on a rave review from the NYT. I mean, my gosh, the crown jewel of the newspaper world, and they are raving. Clark writes with purpose, her sense of social justice. And I want to talk more about that sense of social justice because that's one of my favorite parts about this book. Saying never venturing morphing into Dogba, but remaining fully rooted in Rains's actions and personality. She saves, but is no savior because she operates in a world where survival is the benchmark and the pain remains in the aftermath. I love that review from the New York Times. I'm popping it up there just for a second because otherwise we're going to have to sit real tall. But incredible praise there from the NYT and so on point. So congratulations on that rave review. LD, welcome. She says this reader agrees with you. Yay, LD, welcome. Great to have you here. Julia is saying, hi, Sarah and Tracy. It's great to see you here. Julia, welcome. Great to have you. And Julia has a question. She'd like to know, what is one of the things about Cass that has evolved since the first book with her? Ooh, great question. Tracy, give us the scoop.
I think the biggest change with her is, well, when we meet her in the first book, she's really sort of self-contained, really sort of isolated, and she has sort of learned to sort of open up a little bit as the books have gone by. She still sort of carries a weight and a burden that she has to sort of deal with, and she'll probably always have that, but she's sort of learned to deal with it, adapt to it, and sort of expand. She has accepted people into her life where she didn't have them in book one. So I think she's learning, like most human beings, real human beings learn, to sort of move forward and, just sort of relax a little bit and sort of open up. So I think that's the biggest change for her. And that will probably continue as the series goes on when I get back to it after these standalones. Just sort of her inching her way along, just sort of trying to make her way as a human being does. And I try to sort of make her as human as I can. So she struggles, we struggle, and it's all a lifelong sort of a thing.
Yes, exactly. And I love how real you make her and how you're thinking about what is authentic to this character. How is she growing? Because, if you're not growing, what are you doing over there as humans? Right. I want to grow. You want to grow. Cass wants to grow. And it's so great to see her evolving. And I love how also you play with the character of Cass as a woman of color, former homicide detective, and seeing her in this book go back into that world and interact with the detective who's heading up the case. And of course, I was braced for it. I was braced for something, really awful to be there, or something uncomfortable, or something, really bad to happen. But actually, from that first interaction, he's he cares about runaways. He cares about these kids. He is one of them. He has a personal connection to that. And so that was really cool to see to see her as a character in that world of these white policemen, as a woman of color. It was also really cool to see her interact with Ramona's mom as a fellow woman of color. I love all of these dynamics that you are bringing to life so fully on the page.
Thank you.
Julia is saying, yes, Cass is a character who's very easy to identify, right? We all are rooting for her. We all identify with her in some way on the page. So that is so cool, Julia. Thank you for the great question. Tracy, thanks for the super cool answer. So the New York Times is not the only one who's raving. Publishers Weekly awarded you a starred review. Tracy, congratulations. That's incredible. And they say that the book is, quote, exceptional. The action builds to an exciting showdown. Those who like their crime novels with a social conscious, hands up, me, will be amply rewarded. Congratulations on that rave review and the star. Let's talk about how you did that. So as a writer, you're sitting at your desk, you've got you have a social conscience, you want to get that out on the page. Do you plot it out? Does it come naturally? How do you weave that in?
I don't plot it out. I'm a pantser, what they call a pantser. So I sit down and I just look at my laptop and start where Cass starts. My story starts when somebody walks through her office door with a problem. And then the story grows from there. I have to sort of pick my way along, taking logical steps. What might she do first? What follows that? If a suspect lies to her, how does she sort of discover that that's a lie and sort of pivots to another area? So all of that stuff I sort of have to sort of build on my own or as I go along. So it would be wonderful if I could have an outline. My brain just does not seem to work that way. There's some little kink in my brain that says that once I sort of write this thing down, that my work is done. And it's not. That's just the beginning of the kernel of the idea. And there's a whole loads of stuff that you have to do after that point. But apparently my brain thinks that's it. You wrote the story, it's done. It's got the middle, beginning, and an end. That's all you have to do. So basically, I just sort of sit down, follow the case, breadcrumb by breadcrumb, and I make occasionally wrong turns, and I have to go back and revise. But that's how I pick my way along. So the social conscience part of it, I don't know. It just sort of comes because I'm dealing with characters from a community where those issues are a big thing. I'm dealing with the south side of Chicago here. We have working class people. We have people of color, and they sort of look at the world, and the world looks at them in opposing really different ways. And she sort of has to sort of straddle that those two things. She has to sort of work for her client. She also has to act sort of like a liaison between the police department and that community. So she sort of knows what the issues are, has to sort of navigate both of those factions and sort of get the job done. So again, I sort of pick my way through that little by little, not too heavy on it, bring it down to the character level and make sort of readers look at it and see it and then move on. So that's how I do it. So far it's working out for me, and I'm going to keep on that road until somebody tells me to stop. So that's what I'm doing.
Well, we're not going to tell you to stop. We're going to tell you to keep going because we love it. It's so important. I actually recently hosted Nadine Matheson, who's a debut author from London. And I loved when she shared, I said, why did you write this book? Why now? Which is one of my favorite questions to ask. And she said, because, I love crime fiction and I wasn't seeing enough people on the page who look like me. And I was like, yes, we need to have more people on the page who look like you and look like all of us. Everyone deserves to see themselves on the page, on the stage, on the screen. We need to see that, and we want to see that. And I love the chance to walk in Cass's shoes through the page and see the world through her eyes and experience that. So this is fantastic.
Yeah. Well, that sort of motivation to sort of see yourself on the page is what got me started. When I started way back in the day, I was reading mysteries and series mysteries and strong female characters, but I didn't see a lot of people that looked like me or who were from my community. So I wanted to write that kind of story. So usually the axiom is if you don't see what you want to read out there, write it yourself. And that sort of took me all the way to 20 years or so before I actually got published. So it was a slow and a steady climb, but it's been quite enjoyable and exciting.
Yay. Well, I love your books, and I'm so excited to have the chance to talk to you and get the scoop because I got so many questions. Gail saying, hi, Sarah. Hey, Gail, good to have you. Top community member there. Love having you. Gail, welcome. Good to have you back. So Tracy, let me ask you, what was your research process? What is your research process like for Cass, both as in terms of her homicide detective knowledge and also her PI knowledge? I don't know anything about those worlds. Tell us how'd you get in there?
Well, the PI stuff, let's see. Let's go way back. When I really started, I knew I wanted to write, and I knew I wanted to write a PI. I actually took a course in private investigations. I went all the way up to the north side of Chicago, up a rickety pair of stairs, all the way to this loft area. And there was like a 2 or 3 hour class on what you needed for licensing, what a PI could do, what a PI could not do, what the law said a PI could do. And sort of once I had that foundation of what the job actually was and what PIs actually did, which is diametrically opposed to what happens in the books. It's kind of sort of a mundane job. They're doing skip chases and all that stuff. So it's kind of boring. But sort of having that foundation of knowing what they do and then sort of letting the imagination take care of the rest of it. So I had to know what the law allowed, what they could do by law, what they could not do. And then I was off and running. The same thing with the police department part of it. I had no experience with PI, police stuff. I'm not a police officer. I have police officers in my family. But when I started to write, I needed a female police officer's perspective. So I asked a couple of police detectives, homicide, female, and what the job entailed for them. They do the same things as the men do, but they sort of approach it in a different way, right? They have to sort of use more psychology and sort of talking people down off the ledge and sort of getting them to do what is safe for everybody. So it was good to have that information, that foundation. Once I had it, then I could sort of move cast from police department to private investigator, and then sort of take off and let plots and the stories sort of take care of themselves. So just a little bit research, just to know what the parameters were, what she could legally do, what she could not, and then sort of let the character, the stories, and the plots sort of go from there.
Wow, very cool. I love this inside glimpse into research because I always want to know, could this happen? Is this realistic? So I'm just picturing you climbing that rickety set of stairs, which sounds like the setting of a mystery.
There was a yoga class in the front part of the building. The rickety stairs up to the side, up to the loft, and there were like 5 or 6 little fold-out chairs, and a guy standing up there telling us what his job was. So yeah, it was quite interesting. He showed up in the books as a character because he was so sort of kind of weird looking and kind of strange, sort of Weasley, But yeah, so everything is material. Everything is information that you can use somewhere. Not this book, maybe the next one. But yeah, good to have that foundation, and then sort of let your mind take care of the rest of it.
Oh my gosh, I love it because I'm actually a yoga teacher. I'm a mystery writer by night. I'm a yoga teacher by day. So that class sounds like the perfect class for me. I got a yoga class in the front of the building, a PI class in the back. Yep. I'm shifting back and forth. This is fantastic. Oh my God, I love this insight. This is so cool. Leslie saying hello. Welcome, Leslie. Welcome back. Good to have you here. Top community member there. She says H is for hello. I'm trying to do a Canadian accent, which is, and I'm failing. So Leslie, good to have you here from Canada, taking us international, girl. Thanks for coming by. Yay. Okay. So Tracy, walk us through this. So I love how you said, I think about, the book starts when someone walks into Cass's office and they got a problem. Mm-hmm. So Ramona's birth mother comes in and she's got a problem. Her kid is missing, and she is not a Mother of the Year candidate here. She's got some things that she's wrestling with. She's got some issues that she's really trying to overcome. I love how you wrote her as a very flawed character, but I still loved her and was rooting for her to get her daughter back. So I loved how you portrayed her. What was that like for you? How did you get that mom so right?
Well, I don't think any writer wants to sort of write perfect characters because there is no such thing. All humans are flawed. We all have our good points and bad points. Just because she has had this sort of rough upbringing and adulthood does not mean that she's unworthy of having her kid safe. So you sort of have to sort of meet these characters, each character, even the secondary characters that you put in every book, where they are at their level. They are not good or bad. They are just human. And my job as a writer, I think most writers' job is the same, is to create characters that people engage with, understand, recognize as human, can sort of attach to as human, and sort of go with them on their journey, whether or not it's a positive journey or a negative journey. It's important that we understand that these people are human. They make mistakes, and those mistakes should not and cannot sort of define what you're allowed or entitled to. So I sort of approach that every book, every character, it's all the same. My job is to make them as human as I possibly can, and all humans are flawed.
Oh, I love that, Tracy. I love that. And that's something that I struggle with as a writer because I have trouble making my characters have a hard time. I'm like, oh, I just want things to be easy for you, which of course is not interesting. I can't do that. But I'm like, oh, let me just remove this obstacle for you. I can just delete 3. It's no problem.
And
You know,
even for Cass, she's my heroine, right? And I think the
yes.
impulse is to make her superhuman or like Wonder Woman or Bionic Woman or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't want to sort of do that. I wanted to make her just
Mm,
as flawed as all the other characters. There are things that Cass struggles with. There are things she does not get. There are things that she is always going to have to sort of work her way through. And I think that's good for me as a writer to sort of dig into those spots, those vulnerable places, and sort of dig things out of her. It's also good for the reader, I think, to see, to sort of know that she is sort of vulnerable at times. She's not just hard driving and tough all the time. There are
mm,
things where there are times when she just does not get it. So it's good to
mm.
sort of have those two sides of the character to sort of flesh her out as much as I possibly can. So it's fun. It's fun to sort of dig. It's fun to sort of get her in a position where she is uncomfortable, where she is sort of stretched beyond her limits, and then she still has to sort of move forward. So it's all good.
I love that. What's your favorite scene in this book, Tracy?
Um, I kind of like the diner scene when her favorite waitress is not there. Cass does not like change. There are not a lot. I'm pretty sure there are people out there who can sort of roll with change and sort of be good about it. There are some of us who cannot, who don't like things to change. She has her favorite spot, her favorite diner, and when she goes into that favorite spot, she expects her favorite waitress to be there. She goes in this one day after she's been pounding the pavement all day looking for Ramona Titus. She wants a little relaxation time and familiarity, and there's a new waitress at her table. And it just throws her for a complete loop. She cannot deal with it. And her reaction, instead of sort of moving along and sort of accepting the fact that her favorite waitress is not there, is to just get up, take her newspaper, and go out into 6 below zero weather in Chicago in the middle of December. So that tells you a little bit about what kind of flawed character she is. Um, she may be a great investigative detective. She might be able to solve everybody's problem, but she still has this thing where she wants her things like she has her things, and when she does not have them, she's discombobulated. So that was probably my best or favorite scene.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And so Cass not liking change, it was one of the many things that I related to because I don't like change, you guys. And so, Emily saying she doesn't like change. Emily, you, me, and Cass, we don't like change. We like to sit on our favorite seat. We like to have our favorite waitress. And actually, I was laughing last night because my husband and I went out to dinner and we got seated in not our favorite waitresses section. And I literally was like, but Amelia's over there.
Right?
I was like, this is not Amelia's section.
This is not going to work for me.
I was so distraught, but I stuck it out. But I did think about asking to move over to Amelia's section. Emily, I'm totally relating. Yes, that's one of the many things that I also related to about Cass. So I was kind of laughing with you there, Tracy. I love that. What was the hardest character or the hardest scene for you to write in this book, and why?
I think the scenes with the mother were the hardest to write because I wanted to sort of get it right. I didn't want her to sort of look like a demon or a villain. I wanted her to just look like a person who had sort of taken a wrong turn and still wanted to sort of right herself even at this late stage. So that took the longest time for me, I think, to sort of get that empathy and compassion for her and sort of put her in a spot where Cass is willing to not pass judgment and just do what needs to be done to find this missing kid. So at that point, the important thing is safety of an innocent person, and she sort of overlooks the rest of it. She's just another person, and she deals with her as she would deal with anybody else. So that took the longest time, I think, to sort of get that balance. But yeah, other than that, I really like action scenes. So probably that scene was probably my favorite and hardest to write. And most fun I had was probably in the last scene, chapter of the book, when things all hit the fan and I could just sort of let my imagination go and just have fun with it.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. And I just have to say, I think you got the scenes with the mother so right, because I was thinking that must be very challenging because it is tempting to judge her. You know, this woman's lost custody of her child. She's not been a good mom, and poor Ramona's suffering, you know, the the wounds of that and the outcomes of that and having been placed into foster care. And so she is a character that if handled less deftly, it would be tempting to judge her. But the way that you portray her, I care so much about her. And I'm rooting for her. So, I mean, to walk that line that tightrope as a writer could not have been easy. And you did it so well. Leslie's saying she doesn't like change either. Okay, good. There's a lot of us. I almost didn't want to admit it because I felt like that sounded bad, but I was like, no, and what happens on Mystery and Thriller Maven stays at Mystery and Thriller Maven. So I'll bear it all. LD says every cop has to be looking at the door with their back against the wall. Yes. Oh, I love that thought, that perspective. Thanks for that, LD. Tracy, what was it like for you to write the cops in this and to write male perspective? Tell us about getting into that mindset.
Well, it's kind of like writing anything, any character. You just sort of try to get it down to the human level. Again, male, female, we're all basically human beings. We all have the same wants and desires, needs. These cops, I sort of wanted them to look sort of hardworking because they are. They have a tough job. They have a job most people would not take on a bet. They have caseloads with I don't know how many kids in them. They have no idea where they are. They have resources, but then they have other things that they have. It's not this one thing that's on their plate, and they can sort of ignore everything else. So they have they're spinning these plates all in a row. They have to get all of these things done at the same time. Kids are out there in danger. They have to find them and all. So it's not an easy thing. And I wanted to sort of highlight that they are doing their job. They are doing the best that they can with the resources they can. There is some point to be made that maybe they don't expend the same level of energy in some neighborhoods as they do in others. That's an issue we can explore. But they are doing a job just like everybody else does it. And again, as you want to sort of highlight the positive and the negative, bring it down to the human level and sort of explore them as people. So same process as any character that you would write. But yeah, it's a sort of a fine line or sort of a tightrope that you have to sort of walk.
And what about writing from both a male perspective and a white male perspective? What's that like for you as a woman and a woman of color?
I don't know. I could write all kinds of characters. You just have to sort of think about it. People are all things. White males, white females, black women, white women. I mean, it's all the same to me. I just sort of try to be as respectful and as truthful as I think I can be from my perspective, and hopefully I get it as close to right or as I can possibly make it. So it's a struggle, just like anything else you write is a struggle. Dialogue is a struggle. Description is a struggle. I mean, it's all a struggle. You just sort of you just want to sort of make it as truthful as you can possibly make it, or as truthful as you think you can make it, and be respectful. So that's what I try to do.
Yeah, I love that. I love that because I am attempting to write a male perspective for the first time in my next book. And I am struggling. I'm like, who knows what those guys are thinking? I mean, I'm married to one and I still don't get it.
Yeah, well, we all know men, right? We have been observing men our entire lives. We see them out in the wild, right? We know a little bit about them. It doesn't take too much to sort of get to a stage where we can sort of extrapolate all of that information and write a character that we think is truthful. And if we have to sort of double check it with somebody like your husband or somebody else that you might know, how does this sort of ring true for you? Let me know. Then that's what we do. But I think we all have seen enough men out there to sort of know what we're sort of dealing with.
That's so true. I love that. Oh, thanks for that insight. That's helpful. Emily is saying that we have to let go of our assumptions when writing someone not like us. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. You have to sort of go beyond the stereotypes. You might start there, unfortunately, but you have to sort of dig. And you're digging down to the essence of that particular character. You're not sort of bringing in the world outside. It's this character that you're dealing with, this character that you have to put on the page and sort of into your story. And you have to meet that character at his or her essence.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Their essence. Yes. Thank you for that. Tracy, what's one thing that you want people to walk away from this book having learned, having felt, having experienced?
Well, on its face, it's just like a conventional PI novel. It should be fun. It should be enjoyable. There are funny moments in it. It's not all doom and gloom. But I want them to sort of have a genuinely enjoyable experience. That's it. There's no message. There's no themes. There's nothing that they sort of have to sort of mull over after they're done. It's just a good, it's just a good romp. It's not War and Peace, Pride and Prejudice. I mean, it's just a PI novel with a really kick-ass PI at the center of it, and she has this sort of delicate case that she hopefully resolves. I won't give it away, but this is her journey. This is the kid's journey, and it should be fun. So I hope they take away from it that it's just a little wonderful book to sort of read in the summertime if you're at the beach and sort of lolling around. And that's it. That's it.
Yay! Well, it is certainly beach book weather as we head into the 4th of July. So this is a perfect book to grab and take to the beach with you. And you can grab your copy today from Murder by the Book, which is one of the oldest and most respected mystery dedicated independent bookstores in the country and my favorite. So grab your copy today. I'm posting the link in the comments so you can take Tracy to the beach with you, and her description of that cold Chicago winter will help to keep you cool. Okay, I'm seeing so many comments. Thank you guys all for chiming in. Leslie is saying we also have to not judge authors who write about people who are unlike themselves. This is what makes an author a brilliant author, is that they can write in the perspective of another. Yes, Leslie, love that. Thank you. Jennifer says, I cannot wait to start reading Runner. Jennifer, I think you're going to love it. I'm really enjoying it. I just am thoroughly loving this book. Gail is saying, thank you. Gail, great to have you. Thanks for stopping by. I am popping this link up in the up on the screen, and it's in the comments. You can click over and grab it. And also you can keep hanging out with Tracy she tweets, she Facebooks, she Instagrams. So whatever your favorite platform is, hop over and give her a follow so you can keep hearing from her directly. I'm putting that in the comments as well. All right, we have just 1 minute left. So if anyone has any last questions for Tracy, get them going in the comments, and I will get them right over to her. And you guys, I forgot to share, the Washington Post also loves Tracy. They say Clark has a unique voice in the PI genre, one that is articulate, daring, and ultimately hopeful. I love that. And it's so true. Again, Publishers Weekly awarded it a star review, saying it was a potent mix of empathy and rage, fuels the Sue Grafton Award winner in your exceptional 4th Chicago mystery. The action builds to an exciting showdown. So I am loving that. And we've just learned in this interview that that showdown was one of your favorite scenes to write, which I love that behind the scenes. I'm missing a comment. Julia says, thank you, Tracy and Sarah, for a great conversation. And thanks to Murder by the Book for hosting. Julia, great to have you. Thanks for stopping by. Jennifer is saying, so true. Jennifer, great to have you. Thanks for stopping by. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Tracy, thank you for joining us. Congratulations on your book.
Thank you. Thank you.
And earning rave reviews from everybody. Grab your copy, take her to the beach, and come back and let us know what you think. Everybody have a very happy, safe 4th of July, and I will see you Tuesday from Mystery and Thriller Mavens. Take care. Thanks again.